The opinions, viewpoints, and ideas expressed in this episode do not necessarily reflect the beliefs, values, or principles of Sacred Arts, Crystal Luna, or Jackson Rose LLC. While we strive to present diverse perspectives and thought-provoking content, the views expressed by guests or hosts are their own and may not align with the official stance of Sacred Arts, Crystal Luna, or Jackson Rose. We encourage our audience to approach the content presented with discernment and critical thinking. Take everything discussed with a grain of salt, and consider your own beliefs, values, and experiences when interpreting the information provided. It is important to engage in thoughtful reflection and dialogue when exploring complex topics. Thank you for tuning in and being part of our community. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. Welcome back to the Sacred Arts Academy channel, where we talk about all things from the practical to the sacred. I am so excited for today's guest, as we are all working on our inner child, and Damla Aktekin is an inner child energetic wound healer, crystal healing teacher, and soul healing writer who helps other self-healers and healers move beyond the energetic wounds of their inner child and shine brighter than they thought possible, so that they can fully show up in their lives to heal themselves, their families, and their soul tribe. Through her own healing journey, she discovered a unique way to approach crystal healing, which is based on cultivating a loving, co-creative, and respectful relationship with the crystals that activates their limitless healing potential. She is the author of Life-Changing Daily Practice Journals, creator of the Chakra Bliss Vault Crystal Healing Membership, and the host of the Conversations with Healers podcast. Find out more about her offerings and take a quiz to determine your energetic wounds and how they show up in your life on her website, adropofom.com, and that link will be down below for everyone. Welcome, Damla.
Hi, happy to be here. Hello, everyone.
I am so excited to have you on and to really dive into the inner child work. Can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to become an inner child energetic wound healer, and how did you discover the significance of working with the inner child?
Yeah, the inspiration, as it so often happens, has been my own trauma and healing journey. And I didn't set out to do what I do today, but I did set out on the journey knowingly and unknowingly at first to heal myself. And my journeys of realizing the places that I had had trauma through that, which led me to from my business degree and working as a business consultant to working as a yoga teacher, which then led me through becoming a mother into the realm of the quantum possibilities. And before that, I'd like to say, or looking back now, I can say I used to exist in my head prior to discovering my body through yoga. And then I realized that I had a body, which was a revelation for me at the time. And then in 2012, when I became a mom, none of what I knew in the realm of yoga worked, which then took me on this inner and outer journey of discovering first crystals and crystal healing, and then stumbling upon inner child healing. And the way that happened is after I started to partner, co-create, and heal with crystals myself, and I started to teach them to groups, and I started to see one-on-one clients, it became very clear to me that the places that we were going into in the body were of certain ages. What I mean by that is client would tell me, Damla, I have this like weight in my heart. And I would say, how long has it been there? Or what do you see in there? They would say, I see my 8-year-old self or my 4-year-old self. Or occasionally they would say it's been there longer than time. And that would tell me that is potentially related to an ancestral wounding. And my intention with inner child healing is and has always been about exploration. It's not about fixing, changing, pushing. It's not about, I don't even see inner children as broken. In fact, what happened as I began to realize that I was led and guided to work with inner children more and more is I had this dream where I saw myself in Egypt in the nighttime, and I'm by the Great Pyramid, and I'm looking up in the sky, into the sky in my dream, and I see these millions of stars in the sky. And there are people who pass me by. I'm just mesmerized by the stars. And I keep saying, look at the stars, look at the stars. And some of them stop and look. And some of them just pass me by. They're just too busy to look. As I woke up, I had this feeling and sensation of having seen the inner night sky that we all have. And the millions of stars are all our quantum potentials and possibilities of our inner children, which are not broken, which are simply hiding and waiting to be connected with underneath the trauma, underneath the clouds of that night sky. And it's up to you, with or without help, to find and make that connection.
That's beautiful. What a way to have that revealed to you.
Yeah, and I have been lucky that I actually got to stand by the pyramids at night. In 2022, I had a soul pilgrimage to Egypt. So all of this to say, there are parts of you that hold your unlimited potential. And these parts of you exist throughout your timeline of this life and others, meaning all the inner children, the inner moments of your this life exist in you, as well as your past parallel future lives, as well as the inner children of your ancestors, and then the inner children of the past lives. And so, so it's like an egg situation. There are so many points of wisdom and color and love that exist in you that you get to play with and discover and unlock here in this life.
I want to thank all of our Patreon members for supporting the podcast and making all of this so possible. When you join the Patreon for just $3 a month, you support the learning and continuous programming of this podcast. Join today to get insights on before and after conversations, extra footage, and extra episodes. Join today on Patreon. That's beautiful. You mentioned our inner child not being broken. You actually mentioned it more than once. And so can you elaborate a little bit on that? Because so many of us that are working on inner child, we can't help but feel wounded, feel like that was kind of the impetus, or, that moment in time is kind of like what broke us. Can you just elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. Let's think of like a 4-year-old you who may have gone through whatever he, or they have gone through. That's not going to change the light and the quantum potential of that 4-year-old. So, whatever happened to you might have left a mark in your body, but in your quantum field, nothing can touch the love that you are. So, what that means is you get to get in touch if you can, if you're willing, ready, and able to move beyond what the body holds, which there are techniques that I teach and practice and that I offer as a one-on-one healer. If you're able to move through those clouds in the body with love, grace, again, not with pushing or no lying, but with truth and comfort and honesty and nourishment, it is possible to activate the version of you that has never been broken. So what would that feel like to have that joyful 4-year-old in you awaken? And the way the inner realm works is it works with symbols, it works with sounds, shapes, images, sometimes songs, sometimes light. The language of the inner children isn't linear. It's not like something you can discover and unlock just by talking. It's much deeper than that. It needs to be like a felt thing that you get in touch with in a trusted environment. Yeah, and so it does take some intentionality. It does take creating a safe environment and creating safety in your body and working, most often than not, working with someone you trust.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. That- that's a very different way of looking at it than I have thought. And so thank you for that. I want to talk a little bit about the energetic wounds because in your bio you mention a little bit about that and how does it relate? What is energetic wounds, and then how does it relate to the inner child and how it impacts an individual's overall well-being?
An energetic wound is something that leaves a mark um, in your physical, emotional, spiritual body. And the body has an account of everything that has happened to you, not in this lifetime only, but all the lifetimes. The reason I call them wound is, again, most often than not, these are things that overwhelm us. These are things that leave a mark of too much stress or energies that we couldn't handle on our own at the time. What the body does is it stores it as memory. It also stores it as tension, pain, and struggle, um, as a way to remind you, look, this situation is going to turn out this way. And the reason that they still have a hold on us is these body memories are stored in our crystalline bodies. Our fascia has a crystalline structure, which has a tendency to store information. Um, and the information stored has, again, two purposes. One is just the memory, like we just store everything, it's a learning thing. And two is protection. And there comes a point where the protection that worked for you as a 4-year-old is not going to work for you as a 20-year-old, 30, 40, 50-year-old. The protection of not speaking may have worked as a child, but now as an adult, you get to speak and your voice needs to be heard. I mean, it's needed in the world. So how do you move beyond the places in you or through the places in you that are holding on to these memories is what I tell people is you can talk a lot about, I mean, you can talk and talk about your wish to say something, your wish to do something or whatever. If again, there's like a 5-year-old in you, right in your heart, who is hiding inside a little cave, a little stone in your heart because she's afraid to speak up. What that's going to do is she's going to keep pulling the resources, the energy in you that would have gone towards speaking out loud, she's going to pull them in to keep that weight and to protect your heart and to protect yourself. So you need to explore, okay, like this speaking out loud is very anxious for me. What are the roots of that? Where does that live in my body? What kind of energy does it carry? Is it an anxious energy? Is it sad? Is it angry? And then who is it that holds on to this energy? And can I say thank you to them for holding on to it for this long? And then can I nourish them, give them what they need? They've been alone and just silent for this long. And then once you nourish and get to know them, can I ask them to do something else for me? Can I ask them to instead put a gentle hand in my heart so they get a job to do? So this is you opening up the door to understand that weight in you, that holding back structure and pattern in you. And the inner child realm gives you the blueprint of making connection with it, building a bridge with it, and coming into a deeper understanding of it and a different expression of it.
That makes a lot of sense. Could you share maybe a success story or a transformative experience where you work as an inner child energetic wound healer, and how has that impacted your life and or someone else's life?
Yes. One thing that people assume in coming to me for an inner child healing session is that they assume it's going to be sad or maybe scary or not fun. Most of the time, it's actually really pleasant to get in touch with the playful 4-year-old in you. And I keep saying 4-year-old for whatever reason. This is what's coming up tonight, but it could be any age really. But whatever version of you comes up, there is a sense of when you meet and see their needs and when you're able to nourish them, there's just such a buoyancy and lightness that comes to people. And suddenly what I hear the most often is, Damla, I feel lighter. I feel lighter in my interactions. I feel lighter in my life. And that expands into everything really. That expands into your personal relationships. That expands into how you show up for yourself. And I think for me personally, I'm still exploring this. I find that the inner child realm, if you do this work long enough, it just trusts you more and it shows you more deeper and deeper and deeper places where the lights or the light sparks might be hiding. And it becomes this journey of, oh, okay, that part needs nourishment. Let me be with that. That part needs nourishment. Let me be with that. And what I find as a physical reality is when I close my eyes and go into the inner night sky of myself, it's very deeply calming, especially during the times where I might be in turmoil or dealing with something. I find connecting with and nourishing my inner children just gets me into a very deep sense of calm and clarity.
I've had clients that absolutely refuse to look at their inner child. I've heard one person say, I don't ever want to go back there ever again. So, how do you create a safe space, a supportive space for individuals to explore and heal their inner child wounds?
You're touching upon a beautiful point where, as an inner child healer, I am not in in need of opening any wounds, or it's not necessary to hear your full story even, because the body speaks your full story. The only thing I need from you for us to go into that inner realm is for you to tell me what you're sensing and feeling in your body. And that's it. Doesn't have to be anything beyond that. And that is the key. Um, in the times that when the person has trouble looking within and feeling, um, those are the times usually when they wouldn't see a child inside the trauma place. But they usually still have a sensation. They might tell me, Damla, like my left shoulder feels stuck, or like I'm feeling a little ickiness in my stomach area. And then we work with that. It doesn't have to be that you bring out whatever age is stuck there. It doesn't have to be that um, you repeat the entire story. There's no need of all of any of those. The only thing that is needed is willingness and readiness to be able to feel into your body. And in the places and times, even when even that is difficult, I might say, why don't you go into these other resources that I have? For instance, like EFT tapping, which is an excellent resource for bringing safety into your body so that you can begin to practice even just looking within. So that might be the first step. Um, and I always say, like, if you're drawn to me somehow to this work, your body, your energy field, your inner children realm already have decided exactly what we're going to work on and with. So that's not me imposing anything onto you. It's you and your system deciding and coming to me with that decision and knowledge that this is as far as we're going to go down the line. I'm very respectful of those boundaries.
A lot of us don't even have the awareness to know that anything is going on in our bodies. You had mentioned earlier you discovering that you had a body, and a lot of us are just a little bit still unaware. What role does self-awareness play in the healing process of the inner child, and how do you guide clients in developing a greater self-awareness?
That's a lifelong journey. I mean, I agree with you. It's a vital step in living and being a human in these times. And yes, the very first step in your healing process might be that you become aware that you haven't been aware, which was the case for me. You become aware that you have a body. And oh my God, she hurts, or he hurts, or they hurt. So then you say, okay, there's this hurt, struggle, physical, emotional pain in my life. What am I going to do with it? And you may decide to explore some tools and such. Um, in terms of me encouraging people, I think they become very illuminated when they discover the depth and width and height of information that lives inside their bodies, um, in the realm of inner children, as I say. And then the part where I might encourage them to do and be is at the very end, as I was mentioning, it is possible to talk to your inner child or whoever, in whatever way shows up, and say, how can we stay in touch? How can you let me know that you're having a hard time without like creating pain in my body? And then the inner child might say, like, just close your eyes and breathe with me. Just once a day, put your hand on your heart, close your eyes and breathe with me. Or I might say, when you sit on your couch and you're holding your tea, that's when I want to talk to you. You know, the inner children and your energy system is very, very wise, and they know your pausing points. They know how to be in touch with you. Um, excuse me. And that could become an awareness anchor for you if you allow it.
I'm just curious, are there any common patterns or themes that you've come across in doing this work?
I think mm, one of the things I see in people when I say inner child work is they think about like looking at a picture of themselves outside of themselves. And that's often a prescribed thing for you to have a picture of you on your desk or on your mirror with the small part of you. And I say that to me is still like an outside practice. Um, and my question there would be, when you look at that child's image, where do they live in your body? Where do they live in your body? And the thing that I see most often is what you were talking about, which is we have forgotten that our bodies are these magical realms filled with play and joy and creativity and laughter. And what if, when you look at that child's picture, and I have nothing against that unless you know how to bring that in. As long as it's an outside thing for you, it's not going to do much. But if you're able to bring that into your body and to say, okay, where do I feel the energy of this inner child? In what way are they feeling stuck, unseen, unheard, unloved? How can I love them today? And then as I love them, what does that mean for the rest of my body? How can that love permeate even deeper into the rest of my body? And for me, that's where crystals and crystal healing come in, because they amplify the love. And the other thing I see is we don't remember. We don't remember. I mean, unless we go into those realms, we don't remember how hard it has been. Um, like it's a hard thing to be under a 5-year old. Like you're completely dependent on other people. You're completely helpless, which is why I tell people it's almost like how should I put this? And I have one meditation um, that I offer freely that will help you get started with crystal healing and inner child healing. But like these realms that you haven't been in, it's like going into a dark cave and you don't have any lights, and you got to have someone with you who knows, who has brought a flashlight in with them, like they've been there before. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
it does.
So it's very meaningful and very potentially deeply healing to go into that realm with the help of a healer.
Beautiful. You mentioned crystals, and I remember in your bio, you had such a great verbiage around how you cultivate a loving, co-creative, and respectful relationship with crystals. Do you have any recommendation in terms of like, okay, I want to get in touch with the parts of my body that has an inner child to heal and to be listened to? Are there any crystals that can be supportive in that journey?
Yes, the crystal that you are. Our bodies are crystalline. Your teeth, your bones are minerals. Your eyes, 90% water, crystal. Your fascia is crystalline. I don't like telling people, I understand your question, and I'm purposefully avoiding it because I am just like I wouldn't say to you, like, this is what you need for your inner child, because that's a discovery, that's a personal journey, and I'm happy to assist you in it, but I don't want to prescribe anything to you. Similar with crystals. The loving connection that I talk about when I mention crystals and crystal healing goes way beyond what type of crystal you may hold in your hand. And the reason for that is each and every crystal is an ancestor. Each and every crystal is our kin, is our brothers and sisters and our making blocks. They've been alive and they will be alive much longer than us. They make us, and then they make everything. They make my tea glass. They are part of the wood. Anything with a DNA has crystalline properties because DNA is crystalline. When you understand the vastness of the wisdom the crystals hold, the wisdom of millennia, and when you understand the depth of the connections they hold, each and every crystal is connected with each and every crystal in the multiverse, including you. I mean, can you even begin to imagine? We talk about oneness, but it's a very physical quantum reality when you start to talk about crystals. So, what would help you in your inner child crystal healing? Can you hold a crystal in your hand with love in the times that you're not able to see yourself with love and affection? Can you portray into this crystal the types of healing connections you would like to have in your life and be open to them bringing those connections to you? Can you stay open and willing and exploring in the face of connecting with the crystal that you are in going into your inner realm, which is a multiverse? Can you trust your body to take you to where you need to go? That amount of love and connection doesn't happen overnight. It's a relationship you build with yourself as well as any crystal you partner with. And I teach this. I have a crystal healing membership. I have a crystal healing journal, which takes you on a 21-day journey to begin to make those connections, begin to say, okay, what if I don't intend to just use a crystal? What if I intend to co-create with them, partner with them, see myself through love with them? And that's exactly what the inner children realm will demand of you. They will not take any, just like a toddler, they will not take any forceful instruction. And if you do, they're going to just close off. They're going to close off their magic to you. So you can't go into the crystalline realm or the inner child realm with a bully-like intention. You need to be open and reciprocal and respectful and very, very gentle and soft and loving.
Beautiful. How do you encourage and empower your clients to continue their healing journey beyond your sessions and your memberships? How do you foster like a long-term growth and resilience?
I think there are stages of growth that we all go through. And I find in myself that in what I call the spiraling growth, it's important to know where in your stage of growth that you are. If you're just in the discovery phase of your emotional, physical, spiritual wounds, you're probably going to want to do it yourself, the healing, because you won't trust anyone else, which is fine. I do offer plenty of do it yourself resources. As you mentioned, I have a crystal healing membership that you can listen to in your own time, lots of guided meditations as well as silent, just being absorbed and soaked in crystal energies, healing sessions there. And then when you move a little further than that, you will realize that the do it yourself is only going to get you so far. You might reach a plateau, or you might say, Damla, I'm now ready, willing, able to trust another person. And that's when you partner with a healer like me and you say, okay, let's really dig deep and get the most effective, um, deep, loving connection with your inner children. And then when you do that, there's going to be an absorption and a processing period, which I'm going to say to you, just go do your thing for a month or two. What happens is some people just do that and they're happy, and then they might manage that with the do-it-yourself methods. More often than not, if you're an aware person, you will see and run into and come across the next layer of healing that awaits you. And that's when people usually come to me and say, Damla, there's this other layer. Can we look at that together? Um, in terms of empowering you, um, I truly do believe that we each have responsibility for our own vibrational realm, for our own vibrational drops of Om as we swim in the vibration of Om that is life. And that takes a tremendous effort of knowing and still loving yourself. And that is hard. And I am now at a place in my life where I choose not to do that just by myself. I choose to get help from healers. I choose and long to connect with friends and colleagues who are on a similar journey, because that's just more pleasurable. That's just more enjoyable for me. And the life and the spiraling journey of exploring another layer and another layer is not going to go away until we're dead. And then probably in other ways after that. So you get to choose what that means for you and how that looks for you. And I'm also not I don't think that this kind of diving deep has to be like a everyday thing. Like you can give yourself some grace and space to have fun and I don't know, live your life, do what you enjoy. But then there comes a point where you become aware of the underlying, oh, okay, this anxiety that's still here, this anger that's still here is wanting me to look at it deeper. And that's when you take action, get help and support.
Yeah, what I would have to add to that is we don't always want to be giving our power away to other people. In terms of like empowerment and encouraging like my own clients to heal themselves on this journey is to soak up as much information as you can and leave what doesn't resonate on the table and take the rest with you and continue the journey not on the crux of going to like healer after healer, ceremony after ceremony. Give yourself some time for integration, give yourself some time to really discern within yourself what is actually allowing you to look into those inner parts of yourself, instead of just a band-aid, or because this healer makes me feel good and doesn't go down the areas that we really need to look at, but really using that discernment, is what I would have to add to that. And so what is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience today? And where can they find you?
Yeah, I mean, uh, I do offer quite a few gifts and resources that they can explore on their own, they can go to my website at dropofom.com, ADROPOFOM.com. And they will find I have a few free meditations. There is a quiz there that will help them touch into what their energetic wounds might be. And then they can see if any of it speaks to them.
Amazing. And I will put those links down below. And for our audience today, if you enjoyed this conversation, we would love to hear from you. Please comment down below, whether you're listening on Spotify or on YouTube. We would love to hear from you. Like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you next week.